All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into what is honestly one of the most mind-bending psychological mysteries in the entire history of anthropology. Seriously, we are looking at a story full of hidden knowledge, shifting realities, and the absolutely incredible ways human beings interact with one another.
Just imagine this for a second. You uncover an ancient, groundbreaking truth about human knowledge. It changes everything. But then, decades later, you realize the whole thing might have been a complete mirage. I mean, it sounds like the plot of a movie, right? But this is exactly what happened with one of the most famous cultural discoveries of the 20th century. Let's start with Section 1, the Dogon anomaly.
So to really get this mystery, we have to rewind back to the 1930s and 40s. A French anthropologist named Marcel Grioli published some findings on the Dogon people of Mali that literally shocked the academic world. Now, our evidence for today's explainer comes from a very rigorous field evaluation of those original findings. It was done by Walter E. A. von Beek and published in the highly respected journal Current Anthropology in 1991. So you know we're looking at hard, peer-reviewed data here, not just rumors.
So what exactly did Griol claim? Well, he reported that a Dogon elder named Oga Temele had revealed this dazzling, wildly complex creation myth to him. According to Griol, the Dogon possessed deep, secret astronomical knowledge, including, incredibly, an awareness of a star system around Sirius, way before telescopes could even see it. He described a complex universe with a creator god, a redeeming water spirit named Nomo, and this rebellious figure named Ugo. And honestly, the public, the artists, the historians, they ate it up. They were absolutely captivated.
Which brings us to Section 2, the restudy fails.
Okay, here is where the whole thing just gets wild. In 1979, Van Beek goes back to Mali to restudy these exact findings. Remember, Griol's original work painted a picture of a culture with secret cosmologies, the invisible star Sirius B, the creator Ogo. But after spending a whole decade with the Dogon, Van Beek found zero trace of this. Nothing. No creation myths, no secret knowledge of Sirius B. And that creator figure, Ogo, completely unknown. The entire foundation of Griol's massive discovery simply wasn't there.
Van Beek summed it up pretty bluntly, writing that the picture of Dogon religion presented by Griol proved impossible to replicate in the field. And the crucial thing to understand here is that this wasn't just a case of forgotten history. It wasn't like the younger generation just lost touch with the old traditions. When asked directly, the Dogon elders emphatically stated they had never heard of these cosmological tales at all. It just wasn't their tradition.
So how does that happen? We've got a massive detective story on our hands now. If the Dogon didn't actually have this highly secretive cosmology, where on earth did it come from? Was it just a total lie? Well, the truth is actually way more fascinating than just a simple fraud.
Let's look at Section 3, the fieldwork clash.
Our first suspect in this mystery is Marcel Griol himself, and specifically his highly unusual fieldwork methods. Now, standard anthropology generally relies on patient, open-ended listening. But Griol, who the Dogon actually called the powerful Nazarene, operated his expeditions almost like a military campaign. He was aggressive. He demanded that his paid informants break open the hidden codes of their culture, and he wanted it done on a tight schedule. He viewed their culture like it was a cryptological puzzle to crack, and he fully expected them to produce deep, mystical secrets.
Just to show you how intense this guy's pressure was, think about the number 24. Griol actually demanded a unique name for every single insect he found in the field. He literally wouldn't take no for an answer. So what did his informants do? Eager to please this incredibly demanding researcher, they used their creative intelligence and just invented 24 different, highly specific names for dung beetles. I mean, they came up with a horse dung beetle, a donkey dung beetle, even a beetle specifically for the dung of gray horses.
And that leads perfectly into Section 4, the courtesy bias.
This brings us to suspect number 2, the specific psychological makeup of the Dogon people themselves. You see, they have a deeply rooted cultural need for consensus. Anthropologists call this a courtesy bias. Essentially, they would much rather play along with a powerful, impatient, and respected outsider than disappoint or contradict him. They saw exactly what he wanted to hear and, well, they obliged.
This behavior is really driven by their concept of dogo, or shame. In their culture, causing someone to lose face is pretty much the ultimate vice. Now, combine that intense desire to avoid shame with a culture that is highly theatrical, loves public performance, and is actually historically eager to adopt new stories, and you have the perfect storm. These informants weren't maliciously lying. They were participating in a magnificent theatrical performance that perfectly mirrored Griol's own obsessions and leading questions.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, An intercultural fiction.
So, what is the true origin of this famous anthropological myth? It turns out this famous Dogon cosmology was actually a bricolage, a brilliant co-created mashup. The informants took their traditional Dogon animal fables, mixed them with elements from neighboring cultures, and even wove in stories they'd picked up from Christian missionaries, like the crucifixion and the Ark. And then Griol, on the receiving end, interpreted all of this through his own university training in Western astronomy, transforming their fables into this complex system involving Sirius and the zodiac.
Van Beek puts it beautifully. The resulting myth is a hybrid. It's a true intercultural fiction. On one hand, it stands as a testament to European preconceptions of what a deep philosophy should look like. And on the other hand, it perfectly showcases the remarkable adaptive creativity of the African informants who helped weave the tale. The massive takeaway here for all of us is a pretty profound lesson in human psychology. You know the observer effect from quantum physics? Well, it applies to human interaction too. In any interaction, especially in science, the observer inevitably and permanently alters the reality of the subject they are studying. Griol went looking for a grand hidden cosmology, and the Dogon, through this incredible dance of cultural courtesy and creativity, basically built one right in front of him. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. The next time you hear a mind-blowing, perfectly packaged fact about a distant culture or some mysterious group of people, you really have to stop and ask yourself, are you looking through a clear window into their world, or are you just staring into a mirror that reflects the exact expectations of the person who built the frame? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, guys. Keep questioning and keep learning.